Yeah.
Okay. So basically, like, I'll just kind of go through, and then I was just going to introduce you as the Texas baseball writer for Longhorn Country, if that works.
Sounds perfect.
Okay. What else did I tell the other guy? I don't know. Are you pinned or am I pinned?
Right now, I pinned myself, but I can pin
Perfect.
you if that's preferred.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. I don't want my face that big on your screen. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna start. To say that Texas baseball has high expectations this season might be an understatement. They start out as the #1 team in the country entering the 2022 season. And to talk through just what that means today, I have Connor Zimmerlee, Texas baseball writer for Longhorn Country. Now, Connor, the Longhorns were 1 win away from making it to the College World Series finals last year. They returned this year as the top team in the country. How would you describe the expectations for the team this year?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, anytime you're 1 win away and you lose an extra innings involved on a walk-off, like, is probably the worst way to lose. I mean, if you're going to lose, I personally, I just, obviously it's going to suck, but I think this year and any year for Texas with the team, just with the history and the pedigree that they have, I think it's always going to be Omaha or bust. If they don't make Omaha, if they don't win a title, I mean, obviously making a World Series is still a big deal. The Final Eight's a big deal. But I just think with a program like Texas, when you have 37 College World Series appearances, you have 6 titles, the pedigree that you hold, it's Omaha or bust. And I think this year is no different, especially with the amount of talent they bring back. You have Melendez, Hansen, Valtini, Daly. You have 7 preseason All Big 12 members. It's a stacked roster. You have a Golden Spikes finalist in Pete Hansen. So I realistically think, obviously, some programs don't. Maybe win a conference championship, maybe win 20 games. But for Texas, with the history they have, it's Omaha in a championship or bust. And not that it's a failure of a season, it's just not quite as good as it should be with a team as historically good as Texas is.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fair. Coach Pierce said that he views the expectations of this team through the lens of what it was when he took over at Texas from legend Augie Garrido. What will be his biggest challenge in accomplishing that level of expectation this season?
Yeah, I think anytime you come into a season as like the near unanimous #1 team, obviously most publications have Texas either at #1, some #2 or #3, but most reputable publications have Texas as the #1 team with talent they return. And I mean, obviously, I think their ranking is fair and it's justified. If you look at the Rice series, and obviously Rice isn't going to be an LSU or Vanderbilt or Oklahoma State, but they're still a quality program. And to outscore them 36-3 over 3 games, only give up 3 runs is impressive. And I think in terms of managing that, I don't think just telling them, hey, like, ignore the outside noise. You're going to get a lot of praise. You're going to get a lot of attention on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, whatever it may be, or ESPN or Barstool, whatever publication it may be. And it's just going to be, they're going to talk all season about how if you lose, oh, you're overrated, you're not that good. But if you keep winning, oh, is this the best team in college baseball? Like, there's no middle ground with a lot of these publications. And obviously it's as journalists, that's kind of what it's always going to be like. And I think you have to remind them that just put your head down, grind, because the Big 12 is one of the best conferences of college baseball. You see Oklahoma State, you see Texas Tech, 2 of the best teams in the country, and you had the best team in the country as of right now, at least Texas. So I think if Pierce, I mean, obviously he's done well so far, but if you can just tell him, hey, like, keep your head down, ignore the outside noise, do what you know you can do. I fully believe this team is talented enough to make it to Omaha and win it all. But it'll just, at the end of the day, it comes down to if the players can buy in. And I think they can. I fully believe in Pierce to sell that message of, hey, if you buy in, you grind it, this team is good enough. And I think Pierce is the guy, I think at the end of the day, he'll be able to do it. But that'll probably be his biggest challenge, just making sure that you ignore outside noise. Because otherwise, if you buy in too much or you pay too much attention to people who don't necessarily like the program or whatever else, it can be a distraction. And I think that'll probably be his biggest challenge this season.
Certainly. I mean, you've talked about a number of the guys that are returning But Texas did lose some huge names at the end of last season. Think of Mike Antico, Zach Zubia, Ty Madden. But they do have a lot of talent returning. Of the guys returning, who do you expect to have the biggest impact this season?
I think, yeah, losing guys like Antico and Ty Madden, who are just insane talents. Zubia, who was a glue guy. He's not necessarily like an all-American 30 home run a season guy, but he's a glue guy. He's a leader. Like one of the vocal guys in the clubhouse. But even this season, you see like the top three guys who pitched this weekend. You see Hanson and Stevens and Witt. With Witt making his first ever college start. Last year, he only came out of the bullpen. He was 5-0. He led the team in appearances, but he didn't start any. And then on Sunday, you saw him start for the first time. And there was times when it looked hairy. It looked like he wasn't going to make it more than 4 innings, three and a third. But every time he battled back, he struck out, he got a double play, he got out of the inning. So I think if guys like Witt, who are coming into the season having not played as big a role because of guys like Madden or Zubia or Antico, if they can like buy in and they can do what they did this weekend, I think they'll be good. And then on the offense, you have guys like Melendez, obviously, who put up 6 RBIs just yesterday alone. And when he connects, he can put it 460 feet with ease. And guys like Hodo and Kennedy, top lineup, who they have some power, but they're not going to be guys putting up 10, 15 home runs. They're going to be infield single, bunt, steal second, steal third, score. They're going to be a small ball guy. I think just the lineup itself is very well balanced from top to bottom. But I think, yeah, like probably most important are going to be guys like Hanson and Stevens, who if they have a season like they're capable of having, there's probably the best staff in college baseball. And then if Melendez can repeat last year, this offense is so potent that guys like Melendez, I fully think, can anchor one of the best offenses in the nation.
So in addition to those bets you just mentioned, there's also a handful of talented freshmen entering the ranks this season. Which one do you have your eye on for a huge rookie season?
So I have a couple. I know this one technically is cheating because Travis Steele is a redshirt freshman, but he didn't pitch last year because he had surgery, so he didn't play at all last year. And he pitched 2 innings against Rice this weekend, and he looked good. I mean, his fastball looked really lively. His off-speed stuff looked really good. I think out of the bullpen, he'll be really, really someone to watch. I think he has the stuff to be one of the better relievers on this team. Obviously you have guys like Nixon who've been here for a while and will be the closer. But if Steele can come on and do what he's capable of doing, I think fully he can be a leader in the bullpen because he has some of the nastiest stuff on the team. And then I think Gavin Cash, he got a couple of bats as pinch hitter this weekend, and he's a first baseman, but Melendez is blocking that path. I just think his bat is too good to keep out of the lineup. And I think as the season goes on, with just how good he is, he'll find a way, whether it's moving Melendez to DH and putting Cash at first base, or Cash at DH, or moving someone around. But just coming in with how like he was a 20th ranked recruit in Texas in his class. He was a first ranked first baseman in Texas. He's really impressive. I truly think that I'm not sure how he'll find a way in the lineup. I think eventually he will, but I don't know if that'll be an end of the season thing. But I just think by the end of the season, I fully expect him to be somebody who can break his way in the lineup as a freshman and take a hold of his spot, because his talent is there. I mean, he may only got like 1 at bat or 2 at bats against Rice, but I think as the season goes on, he'll fully entrench himself to some extent, whether it's a key bench bat or starting guy. I think he'll be one of those guys by the end of the season.
Well, I'm sure we'll be keeping an eye out on him. Now, we've highlighted people to look for. So tactically, what are you looking to see, especially here at the outset of the season?
I think tactically, like the big thing in baseball is always small ball versus going for the long ball. Some teams rely heavily on home run. Some teams rely on small ball, like bunting guys over, sacrifice flies, sack bunts, stealing second, stealing third. And I think Texas is in a unique position to have to do both, because you have Hodo and Kennedy batting 1 and 2, who, if they get on base, like they're most likely going to be on second within 5 to 10 pitches, if not less. They're just too fast. And then third and fourth, you have Melendez and Daly, who Melendez is probably the best power hitter on the team. He can put one, like we said, if he connects, it's going 450 minimum. and Daly's more of an average hitter. And then you go down lineup, you have guys like Faltini, who is more like he did homer this weekend, but he's not known for his power. He's more of a contact, get on base, steal second, speedy kind of guy. So I think it'll be interesting to see as the season goes on, offensively at least, if they rely more on long ball, that they do small ball, if they're able to manage both. Because I think they had the talent to manage both. And then I guess pitching wise, I would say how Pierce manages his staff. Because this weekend you saw Stevens went 6 innings, Hansen went 6 innings. They pitched, and then Witt only went 5, but Witt hit almost 90 pitches. Hansen was around like 70. Stevens was around 70 also. And yeah, it was Rice. So you don't need these guys to go 8, 9 innings and put up 100 pitches to get the win, because you're up 7 runs against on Friday, 14 on Saturday, 15 on Sunday. But in games against, again, the Big 12, like, or even like next week against like LSU, like games against Alabama, like Texas Tech, Baylor, Oklahoma State, those like really good teams, when like you can't necessarily rely on your offense to always put up 15 runs a game, how he manages his staff and his bullpen. Because at the end of the day, like you can't ask Hansen, like you want him to go 9 innings every time. Obviously that's the dream, but guys over the season, they wear down, they get tired, they get fatigued. And I think Hansen has the ability to be a deep inning guy every time, but to ask him to be doing 7, 8 innings is going to be a lot. So I think I'm really interested to see how he manages his staff in terms of who comes in when, who establishes, like obviously Nixon is the established closer, but we need like who establishes himself as like the setup guy, like the long, like there's going to be outings where like Hansen or Witt doesn't do well, and you need like a bullpen guy to come in and choose 5, 6 innings to get you to Nixon and do Plantier and Steele and everyone else. So I think it'll be interesting to see just over the course of the season how Pierce manages and like tinkers with the lineup, and then like also manages his staff in terms of who pitches when, how long, how deep they go into ball games with the score, stuff like that. Probably I would say is what I'm most interested in seeing, how it kind of evolves over the season.
Oh yeah, interesting for sure. There's certainly a lot to look out for this season, especially coming in as the number 1 team and holding that spot after a dominating performance over Rice. Well, Connor, thank you, my friend. For the rest of you, make sure you guys follow Connor Zimmerlee for all things Texas baseball all season long on Longhorns Country. We'll see you next time. All right, perfect. Thank you so much.